Hello.
Ready for the day.
Let's get started. Let's do it.
Let's get started. Okay. I don't know. Let's do it. I read these out to Harry yesterday and I was like, Libido. He goes, what are you saying? I was like, on holiday? He goes, really? I was like, yes. Yes, I am. It's not about you.
Yeah, it's not about you. First word you think of with postpartum depression?
Yes.
I kind of think of it as a mountain, to be honest.
Yeah.
You sort of, people are at different stages with their postpartum experience, and some people are, stuck at the bottom of the mountain, really in the depths of it, and other people are sort of getting over it and whatnot. So it's a range for me.
The first word I think of when I hear postnatal depression is stigma. I feel like there's a lot of stigma 100%. Around this, and I don't know, I think people think it's quite rare to have postnatal depression, and I also think for me, I guess I've experienced postnatal depression, but I think a lot of it was situational.
I would say my word would be dark. I experienced it with Marley in my firstborn, and I think it came from a lot of different elements that kind of built up over time. The first one would probably be, when she was born and I didn't have that bond with her, and I knew that was quite a common thing. Yeah. And I think the stats are like 30% of women don't have that bond.
An immediate sort of.
And I'm glad like a friend told me that before I had Marley, so I was aware of that.
Yes.
I was like, it might happen over weeks or months, but when she was born, I didn't feel that bond, and I was like, okay, this will pass. But then it kind of grew into anxiety, and my anxiety levels were, I couldn't go for a walk in the pram because I was scared a car would come and hit us. Someone would hold my baby.
Like intrusive thoughts.
Intrusive thoughts, so many intrusive thoughts. Like someone would be holding Marley and I would feel like someone would drop her, or I would be scared that someone would come in the night and take her. But it got to kind of a point where my way of dealing with that was to leave her. Like I wanted to be away from my baby. It was like a fight or flight. And Luke was working from home at the time, and I was running a business. I had 3 full-time staff working for me. So at 2 weeks, I went back to work.
You threw yourself into your work.
Yeah, I was like, I not only, and a lot of mothers have these thoughts of like, I hate motherhood. This is tough. This is hard. But it was a constant, I don't want this baby. I want it to be just Luke and I want my old life back. And I want to be careful as to what I say, because Marley might listen to this one day. But, she was a perfect baby. I didn't hear her cry till she was 6 months. She slept through the night from 7 weeks for 14 hours and never regressed. Like, she was this perfect little baby. But it was me that was spiraling down and down and down. So I
think as well with your first baby though, that's like the biggest shock
to
your life.
Yeah.
It's such a huge change. I think most mothers would say that. And it's
huge shock.
Yeah, you're used to being able to do what you want and catch up with your friends and go do this.
It's a huge
whatever you need to do, and then you suddenly you can't. No. Or it's really hard to do those
and
things.
I was just like, this has been taken away from me. Like
you felt robbed of.
Yeah, and a lot of mothers do.
Yeah.
But a bit resentful almost.
I feel like my regret was I should have stayed and dealt with those hard times with my baby and focused on bonding with my child instead of escaping and constantly, see you later, Luke, I'm going to work. And I was going to work from 2 weeks old, sleep deprived, trying to figure out how to breastfeed, all of that. Yeah. And then there was the stress of, I felt like I had no support, like I was one of the first out of my friends to have a baby. They were all kind of partying and doing their thing, and I was left alone to do that.
Alone. And motherhood's so lonely, even if you've got a village around you.
You need that support. You need that support.
It's definitely hard if your friends aren't in the same boat as you, and I was in the same situation.
You were like before
one
me.
of the first. Yeah, was I? I was, and it can be quite lonely, or you can't, your friends can't relate to you and how you're feeling. Doesn't matter how much you try and explain it, and that can be really lonely.
And even I think friends with kids at different ages and stages, when you're in those first 6 months to a year, it's so intense and it changes so quickly that unless you're going through it with, that's why mothers groups are actually probably beneficial, because they're going through it at the same time as you.
Yeah.
Do you think if you'd had more support, you would have reconciled those feelings with feeling
I think I would have,
depressed?
you know, and I'm so mindful when a friend or like my sister's just had a baby, like checking in, how are you? Like it's always about the baby. It's always like a baby shower present. It's always a present for the baby when you come see a new mum. Now I'm so mindful of bringing over a meal or like saying, let's go for a walk, getting her out of the house, constantly checking in, how are you, how are you?
Yeah, doing the washing or something, or taking the baby so she can have a shower.
Yeah, go have a shower, go wash your hair, like
go
do
20 minutes in the shower.
100%. But I felt like I never went and got help for those 18 months because I was just in this bubble of it's just me. It's just my work stress. It's just the support. It's just me trying to figure all of this out. And Luke, I said to Luke, and it took me a lot to actually say to him, like, I'm not okay in the head. I'm not in the right space.
I need help.
I didn't say I need help, and he never suggested it. And then he didn't know what to do or how extreme it was. And I felt like I was the rock. I needed to keep the family together. I needed to stay strong. So I never did anything about it. I dealt with it inside. And it wasn't actually until I was pregnant with Hendrix, you know, your mother, the midwife comes over and you fill out your numbers. How are you feeling from 1 to 10? All my numbers were really low. And she's like, what's going on? And I said, I am petrified to have this baby.
because of how it went?
I'm more scared to have this baby than I am excited because of what I went through. And she's like, what did you go through? How did you feel? And I told her, and she said, you need to go see a psychic, King Eddie's.
Yeah. Did you feel like at your 6-week checkup, or because that's the only checkup that you really get, that you do the numbers again?
Yeah.
Was it too fresh then, do you think?
I remember her saying, because I was really struggling, and she goes, we don't tell you to fill out your numbers until the 6-week checkup because everyone would be diagnosed with postnatal depression under 6 weeks.
Zero for
because
everything.
all the numbers would be so low. So she's like, your numbers are low, but there was no follow-up after that.
There's just not enough support in that regard, is there?
No.
And when you did have relatively low numbers at that 6 weeks appointment, did they say?
They just asked, how's everything going at home? And I think I just tried to keep it strong and tried to stay positive. And
Did they suggest to see somebody?
No.
Or yeah, so that's like,
I think it was just in their head, it's just like, yeah, she's finding it tough, like
She's
every
tired.
other first mum is, you know. But we put things into place as to reaching out for support, reducing my like stress on my work, which was a lot to do with it, I think. And then also it went deeper into my blueprint and how I was raised and my connection with my upbringing that really affected and made motherhood so hard for me naturally. Right. But, you know, the second time when I had Hendrix and I was unsure of what the bond was going to be like when he came out. And I just remember like he came out, they took him to the incubator to get some oxygen, and I was just going, bring me my baby, bring me my baby.
Immediately.
They put him on my chest and I just wailed, like that instant bond and connection. And I was like, this is what all the mums are talking about, because I thought everyone was lying. I thought everyone was bullshitting and saying how much they're in this love bubble when that doesn't exist. Like, how can people say that?
Hard when people say, oh, enjoy the newborn bubble. And I'm sure I've been guilty of saying it to people because, yeah, it is a bubble, but it's not necessarily a love bubble. It can be like a bubble of darkness for you, or a bubble of sleep deprivation, or feeding issues, or
it's the message that you send out.
Yeah.
You know, like Bridget and Luke
but I guess
and
that's the
smitten
stigma.
with their baby. And I'm like, I'm not. I hated motherhood with Marley. Like, I was like, I don't want this. Like, this is, everyone was falling pregnant at 12 when Marley was around 12 weeks. And I was like, how can people want another baby? Like, I was just at a very low, dark time in my life.
Yeah, it's horrible.
But, you know, after having Hendrix, I was like, I'm ready for another. I got it.
You worked on it though. You got the help that you needed.
And now I love Molly more than anything.
And do you feel like you're almost paying it forward to, like you said, your sister who's just had a baby and making sure that you're on top of it and
Oh,
friends?
100%. Like
Yeah.
that's like I'm just onto it straight away as soon as someone has a
You
baby.
actually reached out to me. I think I
did I?
posted like sleep deprived, and you were like, Dax, are you okay?
Yeah.
And that was really nice because I was like, no, I think I blurted out
Yeah,
like a full long
yeah.
message.
And
like,
I remember
I
that.
am not okay. I am really in the depths.
And I was like, you need to have just like one night a week where you go do you, go do yoga.
I know, and just hearing that in that moment, you're like, you know it, but
Permission
yes,
almost.
you need that reminder. You feel heard. You're like, no, she's right. I do need to do that, and it's that little kick to actually get you to do it. Hearing it from a friend,
Like as long as a
window.
baby is fed, safe and loved, that's all it needs. Yeah. It's the mums that actually need more nurture, support and
if the mum goes down, the whole house goes down.
100%.
The kids
said
go
to my
down.
friends so many times because people have said it to me, you can't pour from an empty cup.
My name's Dakota Gilbert. I am 32 years old. Zimmy, my daughter, is 7. Easton, my little boy, has just turned 3. And my daughter, Summer, is 9 months. My best piece of advice would be do whatever you need to do to get through. Everyone mothers and parents differently, so whether that be breastfeeding, bottle feeding, co-sleeping, just do whatever you have to do to survive.
Libido during the postpartum period. Non-existent.
Yeah, on holiday.
ups and downs. I never really had a problem with my sex drive after kids. If anything, I feel like I wanted that connection with my partner because everything else had been lost between him.
Did you even find that when you were going through the sort of postpartum depression?
I think so, because I just wanted it him and I didn't want my baby there. Sure. So I just wanted it him and I. So, you know, I mean, it wasn't raving.
Spicy.
I wouldn't call it spicy, but it was happening.
Yeah.
If anything more.
There was a closeness at least.
Yeah, I
between
wanted
you.
that closeness. Yeah. And I felt that closeness with him. But if anything now, when I've got a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old, I'm like, don't touch me. I'm like, between business, 2 kids, and wanting me time.
And older kids that are awake more.
Yeah, and then by the time it gets to bed, I'm tired.
Exhausted.
I'm out.
You're touched out as well.
Yeah.
I find like...
Oh, with 3.
Yeah, with 3, baby, crazy toddler, 7-year-old girl, like by the time they're all in bed, by the time I shower and eat, I just want to sit on the couch. I don't want to talk to anyone. I definitely don't want to be touched.
All day?
Yeah, someone's on me all day. I just want, like, silence.
I especially find when I'm breastfeeding, like, you don't want anyone on you because you're already being touched all day.
Yeah.
And I think there's actually a physical and hormonal sort of reason for that. It's...
Yeah.
So that
You've done your work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No more baby.
When do you find the time to go to with 3 kids?
I feel like maybe when we go like on a little holiday and like everyone's relaxed. I also find like with my husband really busy at work.
Yeah.
Like also he's not in the headspace.
No.
I mean, probably a bit more than I am.
He doesn't have a mental load of a mother.
No, he doesn't have the mental load of a mother.
Wrinkle relaxer. It's your first word. Well, of course I get this card. Sorry. Gotta go again. This is going to be so hard. Okay. My name is Bridget Gale and I'm 35. Marley's my firstborn. She is 5 and Hendrix is 2. Obviously Botox, need it, love it. Don't judge anyone for it. I probably only get it twice a year, I would say. But just so that I don't look tired. And I think with or without children, as long as it makes you feel confident about yourself, then who cares? You know, like if it makes you feel good, you have a bit of you time. You know, it's painful, but it's worth it.
Bring it on.
Yeah.
Is it really painful?
I'm
late to the party, so I need to get involved.
We're going to book you an appointment. Not that you need it. Not that you need it. Yeah. I just think if it makes you feel a little bit
absolutely
better or I mean we're like in the depths of motherhood, we're all like in it at the moment,
and they say it's preventative.
It's preventative,
so it stops you from getting
but I also think like doing other things to prevent the wrinkles, like you know, wearing your SPF daily, never getting your face in the sun ever, Ever. I never get my face in the sun, always got hats,
Were you a
sunscreen.
teenager that laid out in the sun though?
Yeah, I baked myself. So now I'm paying for it. Yeah. And using the right products. So I'm all about preventatives.
Yeah.
But also like I'd never get them in my crow's feet because I flatten my smile and I do like some movement in my face. So I'm just here and that's me done.
Yeah, I'm very much here. That's pretty much where I get it.
First word when you think of pregnancy loss, I would say grief and alone.
It is lonely. Mine, I would think just sadness. It's just sad.
Yeah, the loss of the dream.
Who's gone through a pregnancy loss?
Yeah.
Kind of. I had a molar pregnancy, so
I think that's a pregnancy loss for sure, yes.
mentally for sure.
Yeah.
And what's that? Explain.
What is a molar pregnancy? It's basically when a sperm and egg meet, they start to develop, but instead of developing a baby, they develop small tumours within your uterus, lots of them, but you get gifted a crazy amount of HCG, which is the hormone that, you think you're pregnant. It makes you feel ridiculously sick. I think 48 kilos at the time, could not eat a thing, couldn't smell a thing. It was horrible. Went to get like a dating scan, ultrasound, and they were like, it's a molar pregnancy. I'd never heard of it before.
Neither.
They're quite rare. I've never heard of it. None of my friends have ever had one. I had to have a D&C internationally I was living, and then another D&C when I came back to Australia. And then after that, you have to have weekly blood tests every week to make sure that your HCG is coming down. And if it doesn't, you have to have chemo. And some people lose their hair and go through that whole process. I was lucky I didn't.
That's so traumatic though. That is 100% pregnancy loss.
It was
because you still
experience.
had the hopes and dreams.
Yes,
and
even though it was unplanned.
It's the disappointment. It's the finding out that you're pregnant. Even mine was a shock as well. It wasn't planned. And then when you finally get your head around, excited for this baby, you go have an ultrasound and then they tell you there's no heartbeat.
Yeah.
And I just remember like being on the bed and, you know, they had to take photos where I was just bawling my eyes out, just wailing and like, just like stay still, I've just got to take photos, and you're just like laying there.
How many weeks pregnant were you?
8 weeks.
Yeah, it's quite a way through.
And I feel like, you know, whether it's 8 weeks, whether it's 20, obviously, you know, the longer it goes on, the harder it will be, but it's still a loss.
Yeah, and you've still got that date, the due date that you plan for.
Yeah, and I think in Luke's head, it was not happening to his body. It wasn't real. So he was just able to move on, where I for like 6 months was in this very dark spot of like, you feel like you've lost someone in your family. And then someone's like, oh, now you need to go get a D&C. And I was like, what's that? And they're like, well, you need to get the baby out because it was a silent miscarriage, no bleeding. You then, you know, have to go have an operation and deal with that, or you could just bleed naturally. But it's just another process. And then it's just a grieving process of, you know, being the first time as well. I was like, will I be able to keep a baby? Will I be able to, all these things in your head, like, will I be able to?
It does turn a dark side of your mind.
And you feel guilty, like, I haven't been able to do what I'm here for. Like, I can't keep a baby. How am I going to be able to do this again?
Is there something wrong with me? Is this going to happen next time?
And I was like, I'm sorry that I've lost this for you. And he's like, don't be silly. But you go through all those guilt feelings.
How you feel.
And it's a loss. It's grief.
And I'm quite a pragmatic person. I know the stats. Pregnancy loss is really common. Look,
is it 1 in 4?
And I did expect that at some point in my life I would probably experience one. But when it happened, it shook me more than I anticipated. Yeah. And it turns on a side of you, well, at least in me, where, you know, I became obsessive then about falling pregnant afterwards and waiting for the next window, and you wanted to get your HCG down to 0 immediately and just make it happen.
That's when the obsessiveness kicks in for sure. And then you're like, it's not a good side. And any stress on the body, I've heard that the first thing your body kind of gets rid of is fertility. Like if it's under a lot of stress, it's like, well, no, this is not the best time to fall pregnant, so we're not doing that now. So it's like the worst thing for you when you're falling pregnant.
And it's hard enough to fall pregnant and to constantly worry about it. It's the one thing in your life that you can't control. You can control everything in your life, but when it comes to falling pregnant, it's unfortunately
harder than it looks.
No matter how many times you have sex, it's not going to happen every time.
My name is Tash Crompton and I am 32 years old. I have little girl Hazel, who is 3 years old, and little boy Alfie, who is 6 months old. The best piece of advice I've ever been given, and I now give, is to surrender. You have no control over anything with motherhood, so surrender to it all.
All right.
No, other way. It's like a stack of cards.
Sorry. Okay. Mental load. What is the first word you think of when you hear mental load? Mine would be 2 words. It never ends.
I was about to say never ending. It has no limit.
It never ends.
I would say like routine is so important to me. Like I just, to be able to function and deal with my day, I need some kind of routine in my life.
No, that's so important.
The 5 items always in my bag would be water. I never leave the house without water for me and the kids. Snacks for the kids. Ear pods for me. Sunglasses and baby wipes wherever I go.
The limit does not exist with my mental load. It's just ongoing. It's like a ticker just going to And even when you get things done off, like I write a physical to-do list, and even when I cross things off that, it's all the other things that are coming up. Oh, Alfie's going to need a follow-up doctor's appointment in 3 weeks' time, and it's just in the back of your head that you need to book it when the booking's open at the end of the month. It's just that endless thing.
It never ends. And I think it's very heavily on the mothers.
Oh, yes.
Do the mental load, and it's anything from new products you need to buy for the kids' bath, or what you kids doing after school, or whose birthday party they're going to next weekend. I need to buy a present. To I'm constantly thinking of what dinners I'm going to cook through the week, and I'm thinking about it on Friday when my week ends, because I'm like, I need to do the online shopping Woolies order to be delivered on Sunday for the school run on Monday. So it's like constantly ticking in the back of your head. I think it's one of the things I find most, I don't know if stressful is a word, but
overwhelming.
Yeah, overwhelming. Like you're just constantly thinking of things, and it's that's what I was saying before. Carving out time where you can just turn off, for me, is just the most important time.
Because even the things that are for you in the mental load are so deeply buried that it's like, I need to book a hair appointment. So that gets lost.
Yeah, it's very black and white for the men.
Yes.
Yeah. Very surface.
Yeah, I also think things like social media add to my mental load as well, because I'll be like, so-and-so's doing that with their kid, or I follow so many food accounts of healthy cooking for your kids, and you're like, I need to make that.
Yes,
my kids need to eat bone broth and beef liver, and then you're like, whoa, let's just keep it simple. The best hack, my favourite at the moment, is in regards to cleaning bottles, because I'm in the thick of formula feeding. Squirt a little bit of dishwashing liquid, warm water and a paper towel in a bottle, shake it up, all that greasy residue's gone.
Could be never ending. You kind of have to get through the things to survive, and then try not to add in.
Also think back to what we survived on.
Yeah, fish fingers.
Piggy plates.
Every day. That's what my kids have.
So good.
Postpartum depletion. The first word I think is baby number 3.
Baby number 2.
Absolute exhaustion.
For me, I definitely experienced this with my 3rd baby, and it was so different to my first and second postnatal experience, and it was really rough.
Was that because you were running after 2 other kids?
Yes, and I also had a late postpartum bleed at 8 weeks, so
drained you.
So drained. I was already low on iron. It was just a really hard time, and I feel like I did not bounce back from that. It took me a long time.
Did you get an iron transfusion?
No, I did actually, yes, twice whilst I was pregnant, just before I gave birth. Thank God, because I probably would have been in a much worse state if I hadn't. But yeah, that was a rough trot.
And then did you do anything about it? What could you do? Like, what point did you get to where you felt like you needed to change things?
It definitely got me really run down, not only physically but mentally. It was really rough. My mum actually has a Chinese medicine background, so she kind of sent me to get some herbs, some acupuncture. That was just the way I've been raised, to go and do that when you're feeling depleted. So that definitely helped. So thank God for mum.
And how long did it take you to come out of that?
I feel like I'm only just coming out of it now, to be honest.
How old now?
Summer is 9 months.
Yeah.
So I feel like I hit my downward spiral about 8 weeks and 9 months just coming out. So what's that? 7 months, like a solid 6 months of not feeling
that's
great.
a long time.
So I'm, really happy to be coming out to the other side. The first word I think of when I hear motherhood is village or help. You really need people surrounding you to lift you up and to help.
I mean, first baby for me, I was tired and shocked.
Yes,
at
the biggest
adjustment.
shock. Yeah.
But second baby, I felt far more depleted in that full body exhaustion.
And do you think it was because you're waking for 2 and...
Yeah, and my first was a good sleeper. Second was colicky, bad feeder.
I don't know how people do colicky babies.
You know,
That
being
must
held
be
from
so
3
hard.
a.m. every night.
And then you're running after the first one. It's
Exactly.
relentless.
It's just, it was a different kind of exhaustion.
Yeah.
And I still kind of, he's 6 months now, but I still kind of feel like that. But I think that's just motherhood now.
Yay!
Should we get stuck into some products about postpartum?
Yes.
Absolutely.
So FemZ, and these are knickers, and I'm pretty new to come onto the scene to try these with the panty liner, I think you'd call it. I was a little bit hesitant at the start because I don't wear pads, I only wear tampons. But my period, the first 1 to 2 days, is a murder scene. So, and me the other day in Carrup Shopping Centre decided on day 2 to wear some cream bike pants and started leaking. So with no tampons on me, so tied a jumper around me. But this is why I love these, because I will double up. So I would wear a tampon with a thong because I cannot wear knickers during the day, and just feel supported and feel like if I leak or anything that I've got
to worry.
100%.
So did you try them without a tampon?
No, because my period was a little bit heavy. Actually towards maybe day 5 or 6 when I feel like I was just spotting and didn't need a tampon. Great, because I'm not just going through anything else.
Yeah.
And it also feels light, like it didn't feel like I've got a pad on. It's so much thinner and lighter. And
So
then
nice. Such nice material.
and like, I don't know about you girls, but when I've always had like just period undies. Do you have your go-to? It's always been like your granny panties that are uncomfortable, like comfortable, but
your
just don't look great.
Pregnancy undies that you wore whilst you were pregnant.
postpartum, yeah.
But now I've got like stylish knickers that are now my period knickers. And so wearing them at night, I would be able to wear like the full panties.
And would you wear these ones at nighttime with no tampon?
I will, because I'm so heavy, I would wear a tampon plus these. So then I don't have to change my tampon in the night. And then if I leak, I'm not getting it all over my linen. So
Bonus.
Save
these
the
are me,
sheets.
100%.
Always save the sheets.
Yeah. So these, and they're actually like stylish and actually look better than my granny panties. So
Yes.
love them. Couldn't rave about them more.
I'm really, like you, late to the whole period undie game, but because the technology, I just can't get my head around it. So I think I need to just rip the Band-Aid and try them.
I feel like these are going to be life-changing for our daughters. We all have daughters.
Yes. yes.
Like when you first get your period and you're going to school, high school, and
Yes.
I mean, girls are getting their period much younger these days, even primary school. So not having to worry if you're going to leak, that used to freak me out so much. It was one of my biggest fears.
Because you don't know, like, it's not as regular when you're that young.
and you're so
yeah.
embarrassed. Like you're
Yeah.
embarrassed of that. Well, I was at the
Yeah.
time.
Oh, the worst thing would be have your period leak on your uniform and everyone would be looking at you.
Yes,
100%.
it's like worst fear in high school. So these are life-changing for our daughters. They are gonna,
Yeah.
I tried the Hucker Ladybird. I don't know if you guys ever used a Hucker milk catcher when you were breastfeeding.
I heard about them, but I've never tried them.
This is a more recent product. I didn't have this with my first. It's much more subtle and you can just slip it inside your bra. And if you're a leaker, great to collect all the extra milk. I don't leak so much, but when I would be pumping or feeding on the other side, I'd stick it on the other one and I would collect the letdown. Sometimes I'd get 20, 30 mils, and that's without any suction. You can, like when you put it on, put a little bit more suction in and you'll get even more.
Oh, wow.
And I'd just top that up. If you're getting like 20, 30 mils, it's great. Rather than wasting that going into bra or bed sheets or whatever. I've even heard of people who wear them all day. Not all day, but like for a couple of hours while they're just around the house, if they're not going out anywhere.
Some people leak a lot.
Yeah,
so
I'm not a huge leaker, so mostly only when I was feeding on the other side. But it's great. And then when you pour it out, you can just pour it through that little hole, which is so handy because when I got it, I was like, how on earth am I going to get the milk out of there? But it just pours out of there. It's great.
Bit of suction, so it activates your boob a little bit.
Yeah, so you can either put it on just without any suction or you can put it on, then do that up. And you get even more suction, whereas the first original Hucker is a much more of a suction collector kind of one. It's like a tube.
Proper thing.
Yeah, I don't even know how to describe that shape. It's quite unique.
Yeah,
but,
works really well.
Yeah, you don't collect as much as that, but this is more just to collect your letdown rather than let it waste.
So...
How about you, Dax?
This is actually not for me. Can you actually pass me that?
Yeah.
Thing? So, not for me, although I probably could use it. This is a Subo bottle thing. You can put yogurt in here, smoothies. I think they say you can even put tin spaghetti in here.
Oh my goodness, wow.
Like thick, whatever it is, something thick. I've put the little
I've got one actually, the smaller spout. Is that good for summer?
Yes, so this is what I've got for summer, who's 9 months. I made a smoothie yesterday. I also bought one for Easton, my 3-year-old, and he has the bigger spout thing. Pop the smoothie in. You can't actually see really what's in there. They've only got this little clear thing, so it was like the smoothie was not a great colour. It was green and whatever. But you pop it in there. I'm actually going to show you.
How is it different to like a normal water bottle?
Okay, it does not leak. So even if you have like a yogurt tubey thing you buy from Woolies or whatever it is, and they can still like put it everywhere. This, as
it's
you
only
suck
activated by suck?
Yeah, there's a little thing inside and it pushes it up. So there's literally no mess, which is amazing because no one likes mess. I don't. More mess. No one wants to clean up more mess. So super handy. Yeah. I can't believe it's actually taken me so long to get one of these because
they're great.
I think they've been around for a while.
So many new things that have come out since having a child 5 years ago.
Yes, and I'm 7 years in. So I was just using all the hand-me-downs from Zimmy, and now I'm 7 years later, and I'm like, oh, there's other things that are way, like this is going to be amazing for summer. Because
Well, I've had it for Hazel since she was probably 1.
Yeah,
and she's
love
3
it.
and still use it.
Yeah. So is there anything else that you have been loving at the moment? And
I've tried something for me.
Oh, that's amazing.
I went for a lymphatic massage and it was not at all what I expected.
Yeah, what
not
is
like
it?
It was a no-touch one. Basically, it was a foam roller with, those beaded chair covers of taxi drivers with one of them wrapped around it, mechanical. And you roll your body all over it in different positions. You have to hold positions.
Wait, you roll your body or someone's rolling
It's
it on
electric.
you?
It's electric. It's this huge roller.
Oh my God.
And you hold positions. So it's kind of like a power plate in that you have to hold positions on it. And it's meant to rid your body of toxins, stimulate fat burning, it's a workout kind of. I think you can burn calories.
I need one of these.
It says
in my
you can
house.
burn up to 800. I did not burn that many. I didn't think. And what else is it? It's got infrared light in it, so it's heating you up, and it's got all these
Was it
healing
relaxing?
qualities. Not relaxing, not really. I'd done a Pilates class, my first Pilates class back since having Alfie earlier in the week. So I was extremely sore.
Yes.
And it is amazing for sore muscles.
Wow.
It's also got an angle on cellulite busting. So that's
what I heard.
lymphatic sort of drainage. I don't know if I felt that as much as just more like a firmness. It's activating muscles that I didn't know.
So where does it go over your body?
You can literally do your whole body.
Yeah.
I worked from waist down, so I didn't do my tummy. But you just hold position, so you do your glutes, front thighs, back thighs.
And how long?
I spent 40 minutes on there, but some people do half an hour. It was really good. It wasn't relaxing, but it was me time.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I could just be on my phone or
Yeah.
could put a podcast in, which I think is
Or
almost...
fall asleep.
Probably not fall asleep because you have to move around.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, you have to like hold different positions.
Yeah, so it
right.
gets like a certain
So it's like a little workout.
Yeah. It was kind of like I like a firm massage. So
So it was firm?
very firm. Yeah. You choose the
wow.
weight that because you're pressing
Okay,
into it, so
yeah,
you can
right.
choose. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I
like
definitely
the
felt a little
firm.
bit like firmer the next day.
Did you notice a difference, like in your skin?
So in terms of tightness, I think definitely not.
Yeah.
I'm pretty soft still, so I think there's a little bit of tightening to do. But
We've all
it
got
was
that
just
going on.
good for moving everything around, easing sore muscles. I think it's a really good thing for me to tie in with getting back into exercise.
I tried these 3 different eye masks. First one was, these are from Mecca, so it's like the 24 karat gold and collagen eye masks, which looks like these. And I think someone gave me a tip to put these in the fridge.
Nice.
So puffy eyes or just like, I put them in the fridge and loved that when I woke up in the morning. Like whether it's a big night on the couple of wines or
Big night with the kids.
big night with the kids. Like, great, loved that. Then I also tried this micro needling.
Oh,
Oh my God, was that painful?
Well, you could feel like when you put them on, you could feel it pricking into your skin.
Can I have a look?
Yeah. And the thing that I found a little bit confusing was because it says to use it once a week and then twice a week and then 1 week after every other turn. But so I thought, okay, you can sleep in it because the pricks kind of go away. The pain kind of goes away a little bit. It's not too painful. And then so I thought, I'll put the little stickies back on and then I'll redo it in a couple of days. But you can only use these once. So if I knew that, I probably would have slept in them
Yeah, okay.
to get its full life rather than just a couple of hours because it says you can sleep in them. But yeah, I mean, if you had them handy quite often. Like
did you
anything,
notice the next morning a difference?
I mean, I think everything's a little bit ongoing. Like you do need to just constantly
like
look after your
anything, you have
skin.
to
Just use the
maintain
right.
it.
Yeah, definitely. But I think my favourite were these ones, and I love anything that's gel-like. So these have got the hyaluronic acid in it, and when I use like a gel, whether it's a facial or the eye
Serum.
masks, like, you know, instead of like the paper mask, it's the gel, and you can just, when you put it on,
yeah,
you've got all
the-
that, like, it's all hydrating. And then by the time, like, you take it off, you can just see that your skin has just drunk
it in.
everything from that. So it's just
Yeah.
like a tall glass of water. So I loved them the best, definitely. But these are great to put in the fridge, and these is something if you want a little bit more pain. But good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Anything
Anything
to-
hydrating after
Yeah, I think
Just anything to make you look more awake, right?
whatever's causing it.
Yeah, more hydration to the skin.
I will take all the hydration
Yeah.
I can get.
So I tried these Super Feast mushrooms. I've been
Ooh.
trying those for a little while.
Medicinal.
Yes. So I've been having it in place of like a really early coffee. I'll still have my coffee but later in the day. So you just do, I think they say 1/4 of a teaspoon to start, and then you can up it to 1/2 teaspoon. It's got a really nice kind of nutty, earthy flavour, so it actually tastes nice.
Do you just have it with water?
I
Or
do
milk?
boiling water, and then I did oat milk. That's what I drank. And a
Nice.
little bit of honey.
Oh, to sweeten it up.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. but they're supposed to be really, I mean, you get all different types, but they're supposed to be really good for energy, libido. There's all different types. I think you can get
All the
some for
things we're lacking.
yeah, everything that a mother is lacking, pretty much. Yeah,
Another great mother's, great baby shower gift.
seriously, just something for the mum. Like, this might give you a little bit more energy. Like,
Yeah.
thank you. Like, I will take
You have no
that.
idea how much you're going to need this.
Yeah. It's sorry because we're not talking. And then you have to come out.
Who's ready for a wine?
Oh,
Me.
thought you'd never ask.
Wine time. Let's do it.
Shit, how did that happen?